Hello everybody and welcome to this new video in my Evergreen Tesla series where I try to look in depth at different aspects of the Tesla thesis. So in today's quick video, I wanted to talk about the brand, about the Tesla brand. And I think there's strong reasons to believe that Tesla is becoming the brand that popular culture has chosen to endorse, especially the brand for Gen Z and for millennials, people under 40. Which car do they think is a cool car? Well, for the longest time, they used to think it was BMW. I argue that this is changing, and I see this changing um, through some hard data and also through anecdotal evidence. So first of all, Tesla best car brand of 2022, according to a trends spotter, which studies big trends, and it's a lot of medias that are not auto media. Like the auto media typically ranks Tesla very, 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 very low. And that is because we know full well that to be well ranked in the auto media, there's things that you have to do that Tesla is simply not doing. But whatever is not a ranking of the auto industry specifically, actually is telling us a very different story about Tesla and the market too, right? The company at a $600 billion market cap the market is clearly telling us that the present value of future cash flows for Tesla is insane. So, but if you go to magazines outside of the auto world, Tesla's ranked pretty high. And then if you go on social media, right? So I don't use TikTok or Instagram, so I can't talk about TikTok or Instagram, but I can talk about YouTube and Twitter. And it's literally flooding everything on YouTube and Twitter. What's very interesting is that I didn't used to be a Tesla bull forever. I didn't used to be, right? I used to believe back 3 years back that gas cars were a thing and that electric cars were a fantasy. I was a victim of this belief, and I was still seeing a whole bunch of videos on Tesla popping everywhere. So there is sort of a wisdom of the crowd that really I have been seeing for like years and years and years and years. And Tesla still gets a lot of hate. I mean, I've posted quite a few Tesla videos and I get hate, but it doesn't really matter. Airplanes got a lot of hate when they first came out. People thought you were committing a sin by flying in an airplane because you were closer to God. So, it's kind of one of these things where publicity is publicity. And even though today a lot of the Tesla uh, word that is out there may be negative, it doesn't change the fact that there is a brand that is getting built on Tesla through Shorts, through TikTok, through Twitter. I mean, how many over day do you see Tesla trending on Twitter? It's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. It's quite insane. And clearly, trending feeds are not personalized to me or to anybody. And so this is just a random anecdotal selection of the more popular Tesla videos. But it's very interesting how you have so many videos with 10 million views, 5 million views, etc., etc., and much, much, much more views for the shorts. So I'm not on TikTok, but I can't even imagine what it's like on TikTok. And so we're seeing a brand shaping up. Additionally, so as far as Tesla go, really Google Trends is the only free resource to analyze trends. I couldn't, I cannot find like a free resource to analyze hashtag. Like they all want to charge me $100. So if you have a free hashtag tool that you can share with me to like track hashtag over say a 10-year period, I really appreciate it because I am fully aware that Google Trends has a lot of flaws. Google Trends is a very, very flawed system where it looks at 100 and it compares everything to like peak search. And so it ends up with a very flat curve for whatever brand you search on Google. Really, the Google search trends are more correlated with popularity of the internet than they are with the brands themselves. But nonetheless, you actually see Tesla started in the ones and twos back 10 years ago for Google search, and now it's anywhere between 25 and 50, depending on the season of the month and depending whether you're into car buying season or not, etc., etc. End of year typically tends to mean fewer cars sold. That's when dealers kind of sell their old vehicles. People are waiting for new vehicles, so maybe one of the reasons why it's dropping. Um, but it's just you can't look at brand building over, say, like right here, a 6 month period. Brand building cannot be looked at a 6 month period. Building has to be looked at over the period of a decade. And over the period of a decade, there is no doubt that Tesla went from nothing to a highly popular brand, and it's permeating popular culture. Um, for example, did you know that Teslas are very popular in video games? Very, very interestingly, especially in Asia and Asian video games. And this is just a few examples of Teslas in video games. And of course, Tesla even built its truck, or inspired its truck from a video game, from a very popular video game called Cyberpunk 2077. So the brand is showing its popularity through video games, and video games are kind of the sports of today, or the sports of the buyer of the future. The buyer of cars of the future is more likely to watch video games on Twitch than they are likely to, say, watch a football game sponsored by Ford. That is just the cold hard truth here, and so that's why you see very interesting trends in how Tesla is like taking car advertising to the next era, which is really the era of video games. You see this in universities, you see this in high school. Other countries are really leaning towards video games as a sport, and this is very interesting that Tesla is placing its vehicles and placing its cars within the context of video games. That might be another major innovation that Tesla has under its sleeve. Um, and so, while these two arguments here are more anecdotal, what is not anecdotal is brand studies. Brand studies, brand methodology for studies has been around for a very long time, and it's a matter of correlating the brand with the success of the company. And Kantar is like one of the bigger brand valuing companies. And this is very, very interesting. So the Tesla brand, as of 2021, passed Toyota and was valued at $42 billion. So it did like a plus 270% in brand value change. And this year, the Tesla brand went up in value by 78%. And this is the same data set, the Kantar data set here. And the Kantar data set shows it at a 76 billion dollar value brand. And so it's actually very interesting when you do a ratio of a company's market cap to the brand, you get really to a similar ratio for the world's valuable brands as well. Tesla has a brand of $75 billion, and it's a $600 billion market cap roughly. But I think one of the more important things to point out about brands and the value of brands and the power of building a brand, which Tesla surprisingly doesn't even try to build. Actually, when you read the Kantar Brands report, it's one of the main criticism is that Tesla doesn't do enough to educate the consumer, but they should perhaps advertise a little bit. But again, they don't advertise much, even though they would have a lot of materials to advertise with. Um, but anyways, the point of having a valuable brand is this. That's why we care about a brand. A brand is a weak moat, but it is nonetheless one of the moats that you have as a company. And you have a powerful brand when, say, you don't want a phone, right? Or you don't want a cell phone. You want an iPhone. Oh, I need to buy an iPhone. When is the next iPhone coming out, right? Apple buyers, they're not saying what phone am I going to get next. They're saying when's the next iPhone coming out. I need an iPhone. I want an iPhone. You should get an iPhone, right? Same for Amazon. That's the power of brands. How many people do you know, if you're in the US, how many people do you know who say, oh, I'm going to shop online? I'm going to buy it on the internet. How many people do you know who say that? No, most people today say buy it on Amazon. You just buy it on Amazon, right? That's the power of brand. That's a $350 billion brand here. Same for Google. How many people do you see say online search online, right? You say you Google it, go Google it. Google is your friend. Ask Google. Okay, Google, etc., etc., etc. That's the power of a brand. And if Tesla's trajectory on his brand, if the momentum keeps going on the brand of Tesla, what may happen in the future is that people may say, I want a Tesla. I can't wait for the next Tesla to come out. I can't wait to get my Tesla. Instead of saying, I want an electric car. And this is a classic story of brand building. That's why building a brand and winning popular culture is so important. Brands like Frigidaire and Kleenex have showed us the way that a good brand walks, and paved the way for today's brands like Amazon or Google. And Tesla may very well be that next big brand if they keep up that growth in brand value. So I think it's something to keep in mind. It's one of the reasons why Tesla is in fact better. The brand has a huge momentum. Keeping in mind that any brand is criticized when it first starts to get popular. Any brand. I mean, look at what's happening to companies, for example, like TikTok or Facebook. These brands are still in a phase where there's a lot of criticism, but they're nonetheless major brands. But eventually, the criticism fades. I remember the days of Apple when Apple kept being criticized, like who's going to spend half a paycheck on a phone? You don't hear that criticism as much. And so that's I believe a trajectory that Teslas are going to have. The brands are very important. One of the many reasons why I buy Tesla. This has been not investment advice. This is just entertainment. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can follow me on Twitter at @BeatTheDenominator. Thank you and have a great day.